his name is Deji Osasona, but he's popularly known as Dr.Osaz. He's a leadership consultant at Winbox Consulting and the president of Behavioral Coaching Academy. He's a medical doctor and a psychologist turned management consultant, executive stroke mental performance coach and trainer. He's a behavioral therapist, a transformational speaker, and a mental health advocate. His expertise spans across clinical and lifestyle medicine, human behavioral psychology, neuroscience, organizational psychology, life coaching, integrative health coaching, I beg your pardon, neuro-linguistic programming, cognitive behavioral therapy, rational emotive behavioral therapy, emotional freedom techniques, so anything that has to do with your emotions, your health, your mental health, anything, whether physical, spiritual, and actually psychological, Dr. Osaz got you covered. He's got you covered. So just bring it all in a tray, bring it all to the table. He is the author of From Stress to Wellness. He's an expert also in change management. He's also the author of Train Your Brain for Success and Train Your Brain for Happiness. Hey, when do you need success and happiness most, if not when you are faced with a challenge? And he has spoken at several conferences within and outside Nigeria. Dr. Deji Osasona, Dr. Osaz, is also the convener of the Free on Stock Conference, which happens annually. David, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as Dr. Osaz takes the podium.
Thank you very much, Steph Red, and thank you to UR3 conference team. Thank you for the invitation, for this privilege to learn from great minds and also to rub minds and impact on others. We're dealing with a topic that's become crucial globally because of what we're dealing with, the different dynamics. And unfortunately, even though the topic has become crucial globally, it still remains a very, very, very gray area to many, inclusive of a lot of educated people. So, for example, everybody seems to be talking about mental health today. Everybody, or almost everybody. Mental health, right, left, and center. But if you get people to answer the question, what is mental health? Then you start seeing the reality of why I said that it's still a gray area. Some people will say to you, mental health, as long as I'm not mad, I'm mentally healthy. Absence of madness, I know Kulu. Some people will tell you mental health, the only thing they know about mental health when they talk about mental health is depression. Mental health is equal to depression for them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, mental health is beyond depression. It's beyond colomental. So let me quickly describe what mental health is all about. Then we will look at 4 or 5 tips to preserve your mental health or recover your mental health pre-adversity or pre-challenge, during the adversity, and even after. Is the sound quality okay? So I need to speak louder. Okay. I'm trying to be a big man, so. All right. So what is mental health? Ladies and gentlemen, if you say mental health is the absence of madness, only you're wrong. Is mental health equal to depression only? You're wrong. It will shock you what mental health is. Mental health is that state of your well-being. And by well-being, we're referring to your thoughts, your emotions, and your behavior. The state of your well-being, that is your thoughts, your emotions, and your behavior, in which you are able to achieve the highest possible potential. Your highest possible potential. Secondly, you are able to deal with normal stresses of life. You're able to deal with normal stresses of life. Thirdly, you are able to live a productive and functional life. And fourthly, you are able to offer meaningful contribution to humanity and God. So let me repeat that. That state of your thoughts, that state of your emotions, that state of your behavior that allows you to achieve your highest possible potential, that allows you to deal and cope with normal stresses of life, that allows you to function in a relationship or be productive at work, and fourthly, that allows you to give or render or offer meaningful contribution or service to humanity and God. That's mental health. Now, if anything attacks the state of your thoughts, emotions, and behavior, definitely these four things will suffer. And when they suffer, it can manifest in all manners, ranging from the popular ones that we call madness to a layman, even though in medical terms they say schizophrenia and psychosis, to the common ones also like depression, anxiety, down to the uncommon ones like learning issues, developmental issues, and what have you. But for today, because of the goal of what we are dealing with, adversity, I will be focusing on the three common mental health issues that are related to adversity. That's stress, anxiety, and depression. By the way, depression is the commonest form of mental health issue in the world today. Depression is the commonest form of mental health issue today. Unfortunately, as a result of depression, as a result of this anxiety, as a result of stress, we now have something that is closing up on that rank with depression, which is substance abuse. Substance abuse. So, I will briefly share a story because I have a short time. I'll briefly share a story. And this is to emphasize a point I want to make now. If you experience an adversity that attacked your mental health, and possibly you are still struggling with that mental health issue now, you are not abnormal and you are not alone. In fact, most great men have their fair share of mental health attacks in the days of adversity. I remember when I was still working with Federal Medical Center at Abeokuta, and I was a house officer then, fresh from the university, but I love business. I love trading. So I used to import laptops in. Then from importing laptops in, I supply a lot of laptops to a lot of doctors and nurses. From US, I imported from US, then supplying, making some profit on it, then advanced to bringing in cars, selling. I was about 24, 25, 26 from Asmashi, then the delay in going for service. Then I had a bit of some capital with me. Then a friend of mine, very close friend of mine, introduced me to a waste management business in Lagos, private sector partnership. Then I diverted a large chunk of the money into it. And the business, we use it to buy, those compactors, those trucks. And I'm talking about, in fact, the money I had was not enough. I think it was about 11 million I put into it. Then I raised, under 2 days, I raised 6.7 million naira from family members and friends in order to be able to buy, because the trucks were about 4.something million naira each. So we got 3. I had a supervisor for each truck, a driver for each truck, and 2 packers per truck. They gave us a certificate or a license, LOMA, under the private sector partnership. Then we started work. Usually the policy is that at the 3rd month they will now start paying you. They pay you in arrears. So we work 1st month, imagine servicing the trucks, putting diesel inside, paying the salary of the supervisors, 1 supervisor per truck, making 3 supervisors, 1 driver per truck, making 3 drivers, 2 packers that pack the waste per truck, making 6 packers. And by the 3rd month, at the end of the 3rd month, I was expecting that, money don't they come. When we look at our numbers, you know how you receive a lot and you are just on a different level. That's the way I was feeling, only for us to get a shocker. Money didn't come in by the end of the 3rd month. 4th month, we started getting there together with my friend, and it was like a tug of war. It was like they were posting us. And we didn't know what was happening. 4th month, but we kept working, believing that the money is coming. They are keeping the money for us, one way or the other. They said they are trying to sort some documentation issue. It was until about 7th month that we discovered that it was a fake license they gave us. Zeal is laughing. It was a fake license. I can't tell you how much we spent on salaries, on diesel, on servicing the truck for 7 months. So we had somebody that was a little bit in the government that we're close to. We approached him. He said, oh, we speak to the MD, that this and that. So we use that as an encouragement to continue working. 7th month, 8th month, opening. By 9th month, it dawned on us that there is no hope. Unfortunately, it was at the same time that the governor then announced the end to open compactors, open trucks rather, for waste management. So they switched to compactors because of environmental concern. So we are out of business, but if the trucks were still useful, we could have sold them to other waste managers. But now that they are no longer even useful because Lagos State has switched to compactor. By the time we put them for sale, nobody was willing to buy. They were only offering money for scraps. So imagine something one bought about 4.something million naira. I ended up selling. The highest I got as scrap for one of the truck was about 400,000 naira, 470-something thousand naira. Others were 3-something. So I got just a little bit above 1 million naira. I came from like level 9 to level 1 or level 0. I was owing money. I felt sad. I felt anger against the world, the government, against God. That God, I did pay my tithes. Why you allowed this to happen to me? It was terrible. I stopped going to church for about 7 to 8 months. You know, they're not born you well. Talk about God to me. Real life. It was a dark moment in my life. I was meant to resume work because I relocated to Lagos by then. Resume work at Nigeria Air Force Hospital. I delayed it because I felt I can't give my best. Eventually, I summoned courage. In that depressive state, I resumed work. And on this background, I will share with you real-life tips that can help you protect or preserve your mental health, recover it if it's already attacked as a result of the adversity you are dealing with. And life happens. But I need you to establish or cement this foundation. You are not abnormal. A lot of times when something bad happens to us and we are sinking, we feel we are abnormal. In fact, sometimes religious society makes you believe that God is punishing you. And nobody punishing you. In fact, a lot of times, no village people, no demon at the background of your issue. It's just life that happened to you. And oftentimes, this crisis will emerge as a window to a next level for you. Because that's actually the real original meaning of crisis. When you're experiencing crisis, the Latin root word for crisis is crisio, which means a junction. It means a junction. That is a junction to get better or get worse. It depends on the choice you take. So, establish this is not about God punishing you most times. I mean, I don't want to serve God that always punishes me. Then what's the difference between him and humans? And a lot of times it's not about village people. Life happened to you. It's normal to feel sad. It's just that you didn't snap out in time and it's tweaked or create a shift in your brain structure, your brain biochemicals, and your brain functions. That's what just happened. But the human brain is very resilient. The human brain is neuroplastic. That is, it can be remolded if you have the tips, if you have the support. And because of time, I will just give you some practical tips. And I want to believe and I want to trust that you will run with it, you will apply it, because it's not enough to hear. Knowledge is not power. It's the application of knowledge that is power. Action determines result, not intention, not idea. Actions determine result. So, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to introduce to you the ABCDE of preserving and recovering your mental health. Preserving your mental health before and during adversity, and recovering it even after the adversity. ABCD. The A is in two folds. Acknowledge your situation and accept yourself regardless. Acknowledge your situation and accept yourself regardless. If you are in denial, and it's okay to initially be in denial. In fact, the first phase of every grief is denial. If you lose something, what's a value to you? If you lose a loved one, it's okay, it's natural. If you understand neuroscience, the science of the human mind, it's natural to be in the denial phase. But it must not last for too long. You must be able to get to a point where you acknowledge that, oh boy, I don't lose the money. Oh boy, that baby, that son don't go. Mama don't go. I will never see him or her again. Oh boy, I've lost that job, I've lost that position. I've lost that relationship. You must be able to get to that point to acknowledge. Until you acknowledge your situation, you can never be free from it. When you accept it, you can transform it. But when you resist it, it will persist. You must acknowledge that it has happened. It's okay to deny initially, but you must get to a point you acknowledge that it has happened. It may require support from people, but you must acknowledge. And ladies and gentlemen, I think at this point I must quickly chip this in. For those of us that are acting as support, especially in grieving time for people, please be careful with sugarcoating the situation. You think you are doing something productive, but it's counterproductive because you are delaying the phase of recovery from grief. Stop saying that, I know you want them to be with us, but they have to go to a better place. Who says to them, do you think they are in a better, they want them to go to a better place? To them, to the person grieving, being with them is a better place. So you are just hypnotizing their mind, not to acknowledge the situation. So acknowledge the situation, it has happened, it has happened. But also, don't just acknowledge the situation. You must accept yourself regardless. A lot of thoughts, because of the way the human mind is designed by God, through imagination, you will start imagining all manners of possible outcomes and consequences of their absence. Of the absence of the money, of the absence of the relationship, of the absence of the job or the position of that loved one. It's okay to have those imaginations. Your mind, your brain is doing its job. But what is not okay to do is to reject yourself, is to stop accepting yourself regardless. The word love, the original Latin root word for love is agape, which means accepting regardless. So when you say you love yourself, what you are saying is that you accept yourself regardless of who stays in your life or who leaves. You are saying you are accepting yourself regardless of what you have and what you lack. You are saying you are accepting yourself regardless of what is working and what is not working. And it's scriptural for those of us that are Christians and Muslims. It's scientific, it's psychological. The power of accepting yourself. Scripturally, permit me to quote from 1 John chapter 4, verse 8. All right? I hope it's okay to quote the Bible here. Steph read. Huh? Okay. But I will make reference to it. In that scripture, it talks about he who knows God operates in love. And you cannot claim to know God and operate in love. That is, operate in accepting yourself regardless. And the importance of that is found in a particular verse 18 of that chapter. It says, there is no fear in love. Perfect love casts out all fear. For he who is a slave to fear has not mastered how to love. What he's trying to say is this. When you stop accepting yourself regardless, that is, you are not operating from the love zone, fear manifests. In fact, that's the nidus, the beginning of fear. It's like a zone. You step out of the zone of love, of accepting yourself regardless, you will automatically step into the fear zone. And fear will birth all forms of other toxic emotions. But the moment you realize you are stop accepting yourself regardless, Pepe, no rest now, no job now, and it's a tough time for you. But you accept yourself regardless, you believe in yourself, you value yourself, the way you see yourself and value yourself is still intact. You will return back to that love zone and you step out of fear. The antidote to fear is actually love. That's why I believe the opposite of fear is love, or the opposite of love is fear. So acknowledge your situation, but accept yourself regardless. Also, the B is beware of your feelings, especially in preventing or preserving your mental health. Oftentimes, it's only a few incidents that happen spontaneously that lead to depression. 90% of depression is due to a major challenge or a long-term challenge that the person didn't navigate the mental state or emotions very well and eventually caused a shift or a tweaking in the brain structure, biochemicals, and function. So, beware of the feelings you are running on. Unfortunately, a lot of us, our awareness is low when it comes to emotion. Let me tell you a secret about your feeling. Number one, don't try to fight it or stop it. Just beware of it. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What have I been feeling the last 2 months? Is it sadness? Is it anger? Is it fear? Is it worry? But it's not for you to start fighting or stopping it, because emotions are energy emotion. You try to stop them, they will persist. Because law of thermodynamic energy, you don't try to destroy or create. You cannot create or destroy energy. You can only convert it from one form to another. So, but you have to label it for. When you are able to name the feeling you are dealing with, then you can tame it. When you don't even know what you are dealing with, an enemy you know, even though he's strong, you stand a better opportunity or probability of dealing with it than an enemy you don't know that is weak. So, each time you are dealing with an adversity or a challenging situation, ask yourself, what feeling have I been running on in the last 2 days, in the last 1 week? Naming it alone has kickstarted the process in your mind. Then, beware of why you are feeling that way. No situation, another secret that you need to know, no situation determines the reason why you are feeling a particular way. It's an illusion. No situation determines what you are feeling. If you understand the neuroscience of emotion, feelings are just biochemicals circulating in your system. Feelings are just biochemicals circulating in your system. For each feeling, there is a specific biochemical. And God didn't design any situation to have the capacity to trigger the biochemical into your system. It is your interpretation of the situation or your expectation from it that determines the biochemical that is released into your system that you feel. That's why we say no situation is a stress, is equal to stress. The situations are just stressors. They have the potential to induce stress. Yes, some adversity can be very, very tough, but the situation is not equal to your stress. It's not equal to what you're feeling. Another person can be in the same situation and have a different feeling. It is your interpretation that you need to deal with. Beware of the trigger, which is the interpretation and expectation. You may need help. You may not be able to do this by yourself. That's why you may need to seek professional help, counselors, coaches, and therapists. But you must be aware of what you are feeling, why you are feeling, that is, where is it coming from, and what is it making you to do? What actions or inactions is this feeling pushing you into for the sake of your body and your mental health? Once you gain an awareness, you have 50% of the job done. Self-awareness is the first step to any self-improvement. The C is choose your action despite your feeling. One of the problems of feeling is this. By the way, feelings are just impulse to action. Those biochemicals circulating in your system are trying to create an impulse in you to take action. That's why we say feelings are messengers, feelings are feedback, feelings are impulse to action. But the actions may not be the right one for your mental health. So you feel sad. And you now think that you should withdraw from everybody. You are no longer picking calls. No longer going for the family outing or anything. You are just in bed. The impulse from that biochemical is causing you to withdraw. But you got to learn to choose your action despite your feeling. We are not animals. We are human beings. We are not a slave to our feelings. You are not governed or lauded by your feelings. You can choose your action despite your feeling. You feel sad, but you understand the goal is not to lose my mental health. Therefore, I need to remain connected. Because once I remain connected with people, whether socially, virtually, or physically, I'm pumping oxytocin into my system, one of the happiness chemicals. So I don't feel like picking the call. I don't feel like going out. But I look for people that can ginger me, that can help me. Limping, they will support me a little bit so that I can go in. The more you choose your action despite your feeling, the more you are pumping new desired biochemicals like oxytocin into your system. Eventually, it will neutralize the impact of the unwanted biochemical of sadness and fear in your system. You don't feel like exercising because you are not motivated. Pepper never rests well. But you know the blessings in exercising, not just for losing weight, even for your mental alertness, in order to take opportunities, sight opportunities, in order to feel good about yourself. So you wake up, you feel like clinging to your bed or your mattress or your pillow. You feel low in energy, but you still go ahead and exercise even for 10 minutes per day. Each time you do that, you are pumping endorphin into your system, which is a feel-good hormone. It makes you feel good about yourself. That's why we say you must choose your action despite your feeling. You have a big dream of owning a house in Banana Island by the age of 40 years. Here are you, 39, never hold for Mowe. But you are already saving 100K per month, 50,000 naira per month. That's a step towards the big goal. Whenever you fixate yourself on your big goal, it's okay to dream big. But whenever you fixate yourself on the big goal, on the big dream, ignoring your small steps towards the big goal, you are denying yourself the blessings of dopamine, another happiness chemical that is responsible for motivation and mental alertness. Because they are essentially released into your system when, despite your feelings regarding the big goal, the big dream you have, despite the fact that you have a big dream or big goal of getting married by 30, but you are taking steps, you are improving your character, you are improving your attitude, you are improving your financial capacity. You are recognizing, acknowledging, and celebrating those little wins, those little steps. Each time you do that, you are pumping dopamine into your system that motivates you, that makes you become more mentally alert, ginger you for the next level, propel you further in your journey towards the big goal. Choose your action despite your feeling. And you are not an animal. You are not a slave to your feeling. You can always choose your action. The D is about disciplining your thoughts. Discipline your thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, 70 to 80% of our general thoughts are negative. You may speak in tongue till tomorrow. You may be the most cheerful giver in your church or mosque. You hear God. In fact, it's as if you and God, you are intimate to the level of the bedroom voice. You hear it loud and clear. But the way the human mind is designed first for survival instinct, to protect you against danger. And that makes you to think more in the negative. As a matter of fact, media even what sells the most in news, online or offline or print, is majorly captions that are negative news. So you have been programmed to think or see more of negative. Now, the onus is on you. In the midst of the adversity, the challenge you are dealing with, if care is not taken, you will see 20 negatives out of the adversity, and you will not see even one positive out of it. Things may even be going well in 2 other areas of your life. You also one area, and you will say, nothing is working in my life. And it's just one area that you're having adversity. Ladies and gentlemen, discipline your thoughts. And how do I mean? Question your thoughts. Don't let your thoughts come into your head and pitch a tent without challenge. Because your thought may be wrong. Your imaginations can be an exaggeration. If you look into your life 10 years ago, most of the worries you had 10 years ago, 5 years ago, where are they? They never materialize. The same thing, most of the worries you're having now, in the next 5 years, you will look back and look at how stupid you're being because they won't materialize. It's just figment of your imagination that you refuse to question, but they deny you of maximizing the present because you are not disciplining your thoughts. So identify quotes, affirmations, success anchors, other people's stories, messages that can help you question your thoughts. And I will leave on this, under this one, by saying there's no situation in life that has one meaning. Even the loss does not have one meaning. You only give meanings to situations based on how you have been programmed to interpret it or to expect from it. It could be from your environment, it could be from the education you receive, it could be from the experience you had or your exposure. We are all programmed to interpret situation in a particular way. 3 people can experience the same thing and they have different experience. Why? Because of different programming, the way they interpret and expect from it. So discipline your thought, challenge your thought, question your thought. Sometimes you may need help. You may need that. You may need to seek help, professional help to help you question your thought. That's what coaches do. That's what counselors do. That's what therapists do. And if at all, is beyond coaching, counseling, or psychotherapy, because if it's very severe, sometimes you may need medications. Then embrace medication under choose your action despite your feeling. The E is spiritual, and because we don't want to go spiritual, let's leave it. But I can say it, but I won't go deep into it. Energize your spirit. We are all forced a spirit with a physical cloth called body. And the interaction between your body and your spirit is your mind. But you cannot focus only on your mind and your body without strengthening your spirit. You fail in the days of adversity. Your strength is small, but the real Greek word for that strength is the strength of your spirit. Feed your spirit. What are the promises you're holding on to? What are the wealths that are spiritual that you're holding on to? What are the best ways you energize your spirit? Through praise and worship, even if you're a Christian, through speaking in tongues. God bless us. Thank you for your time.